Democrats right now that still want him to step down are said to be panicking and hoping for another public misstep by Biden, which means some of them, at least, their hands are off. Like, yeah, we sort of tried pushing him out. It doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. So let's just see about that press conference, I suppose. So everyone, I think, will be tuning into that. But I do want to turn now to some of the other critics of him. And there's minor figures, Michael Bennet, senator, Richard Blumenthal, senator. But let's turn to the truly powerful, George Clooney. George Clooney said this: "I love Joe Biden as a senator, as a vice president, and as president. I consider him a friend, and I believe in him, believe in his character, believe in his morals. In the last 4 years, he's won many of the battles he's faced." Clooney is no big critic or traitor to Joe Biden or anything. He did say this: "But the one battle he cannot win is the fight against time. None of us can. It's devastating to say it, but the Joe Biden I was with 3 weeks ago at the fundraiser was not the Joe big effing deal Biden of 2010. He wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. He was the same man we all witnessed as at the debate." He went on to say that every senator and congressmember and governor that he has spoken to in private believes Democrats, quote, "are not going to win in November with this president." And so he was with Biden 3 weeks ago, and he said, when I saw him and I had time with him, he was like the debate Joe Biden. By the way, very few of those Democratic governors and senators are coming out and pushing for Joe Biden to step down. A few are, but most are not. But behind the scenes, they're telling people we are going to lose in November. And I will also add, we're not gonna play the video, but George Stephanopoulos, who just interviewed Joe Biden a few days ago, he was interviewed, I forget exactly if it was Pug or if it was TMZ or something, but they accosted him and said, what do you think about Joe Biden? And he said he doesn't think any reasonable person thinks that Joe Biden could serve out the 4 years if he is elected, which is a different sort of consideration. And I would say less consequential. Winning the election is the most important thing. Whether you can continue or whatever is less important, I suppose, still important. But the victory is the important thing. And according to someone like George Clooney, who's he does these fundraisers, he donates a lot of money, he talks to all these people, there is basically no faith that the Democrats can win. And there is nothing worse that can come in November than a loss for the Democrats. And so, Sharon, I know a lot of people are not gonna wanna hear this, but what do you make of it?
It makes me suspect something else. I mentioned the former President Obama, a couple minutes ago. I feel like everybody around that president, and George Clooney is friends with Obama, Axelrod, and the doctor who was related to the administration in some way, they're all coming out and saying these things or leaking these things. And not a lot of senators have said this or that, but it's the Senate and it's a boys' club. And so they try to, show a little more decorum than the House. But I think that this is not good. I thought Biden might have been out of the woods, a little bit. But now Clooney and others speaking publicly, I feel like maybe they were encouraged and they're all on a party line strategizing. And I think the former president, if not himself, perhaps a representative or a close friend, is in the mix somehow.
Maybe. I mean, I have to imagine George Clooney, who again, he goes back with, I don't think he wants to say this. Like, think about how Biden is gonna respond to that. How some of his other friends, he may know lots of people who aren't as tapped into politics or haven't talked to Biden. And I've seen how much some people don't want to hear that Biden should be replaced. I'm sure George Clooney's social circle probably has a lot of that too. And yet he clearly feels like he has to say something coming out of the experience he had with him. Again, George Clooney is not the kingmaker of American politics. But you've got Nancy Pelosi, you have a couple of senators now. And I'm just saying the forceful, active attempt to force him out, I feel like has largely faltered. But that doesn't mean that there isn't pressure behind the scenes. I don't necessarily think it's gonna succeed, but it seems to be going on. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?